Welcome to Elliott's PT podcast. I'm here to help you find your balance and live your best life guilt-free. I don't believe there is a one-size-fits-all approach for health and fitness. We're all different and we need to find out what works for us. I'm passionate about helping people make realistic, long-term lifestyle changes that they will stick to and they will take with them forever. I don't believe in crazy diets or short-term fixes. We all need to live and find a perfect balance in diet and exercise that suits our individual needs. I want to help you find your exercise mojo, feel great and achieve wonderful things. Here is Elliott's PT podcast by Renae Elliott. Hello and welcome back to the Elliott's PT podcast. So today I wanted to talk about something that I love, and the more I just researched about this for this, I realized how far I've changed, how far I've come, and how much I love my barefoot shoes. So I wear barefoot shoes, and I've been wearing them for about 3 or 4 years now. Yeah, probably about 3 or 4 years, and I don't wear anything else now. I wear no other shoes, and I'm such a big fan of training in barefoot shoes, or training in my barefoot shoes, or training with no shoes on. The reason I love it so much, I understand that if you're in a big bulk, if you're in gyms and you're lifting heavy weights, it can be dangerous to not have any shoes on. Your feet are not protected. When I train on my own, I train generally in no shoes, or if I do train and I have shoes on, I have my barefoot shoes on. I now wear them every day. I don't really wear any other shoe because they're so comfy, and there's so many benefits of them, and I recommend anyone to get them. But obviously do your own research and make your own opinion, but this is my opinion. And maybe you'll want to go try them out after listening to what I have to say today. So people love them. Other people love them or like them because they like feeling their feet on the ground, feeling like they connect more with nature. And they say that having your feet connected more to the ground could be therapeutic. But I first started seeing barefoot shoes. I can't quite remember what. I think it was something on Instagram I'd seen, and then it got me interested, and I'd heard some people talking about them, and then I started doing my own research, and then I got the plunge and bought a pair. And what the thing that appealed to me is that you have when you've got your feet on the ground, you can really feel what you're doing. So any exercise or any movements, anyone that has knee problems or anything like that, I always say to them, take your shoes off, and then you can see what your feet are doing. You can feel your feet on the ground. Something I feel really strongly about for myself and for everyone else is my dad has had he's just had his ankle fused at the start of this year, and he's waiting for his next one to get done. He has a knee replacement and a hip replacement, and he's only in his 60s. And I just feel like everything's a knock-on effect, and I feel the more that you need to look after, who thinks about their ankles? We want to work out our arms and, our butts and have a nice abs, but who thinks about what your ankles do? Who thinks about, not many, who think about your calves or any of those things, but your ankles and your feet, they take all your weight, they take all the pressures of the day, and I think stuff starts from there. So get your stuff right first and work from the ground up. And so that was what got me interested, kind of interested in them. And the thing that really made me think is this person I was following on social media, they were talking about barefoot shoes. And they said a quote is that if you think of your feet as your foundation, so you think of a house and your feet is like your foundation of your house. And why would you put cushions underneath that foundation? Because it would just make it more wobbly, wouldn't it? So that's exactly what we're doing with different types of shoes. We're just putting bigger cushions underneath our feet. And if we put cushions underneath the house, it makes it unstable. And that really resonated with me, and it really made me think, so, and I see it in my classes. I see it with people that I train. I have noticed a massive difference with myself, is that, when you have your feet on the ground, you can feel what your toe is doing. So lots of people that have knee problems, your big toe is connected to your knee. And so generally lots of times there's people that big toe is lifting, and you need to learn to keep that foot grounded. Keep that foot grounded on the floor, and suddenly your knee and alignment will be better. If your knees are coming in or they're going out or anything like that, you could have a bit of a flat foot and that foot's rolling in. It's those things that when you start with no shoes on or wearing barefoot shoes, you can really feel what your feet are doing. And it did take a bit of time to adapt to it. I'll be honest, my foot has gone up a size since wearing them. So my foot is now a size bigger, but for me, that's massive. No, not that I wanted a bigger foot, but it's massive because it made me realize how much I was squishing my foot into a shoe. Something that made me want to look into them is that my gran has, she has problems with her feet. She had feet that her toes are quite crinkled up, and she said she used to always wear nice little pointy shoes and those types of things, and I didn't want that off my feet because I know that she gets sore feet. She finds it hard fitting in different shoes and all that. So that was something that I was aware of. I knew the pain that she has from that, and I didn't want that either. And the barefoot shoes, I wear Vivo Barefoot. That's the brand that I wear, and I love them. I really, really love them. But they show different photos of feet squished into like a modern shoe, and then the barefoot shoe, and you'll see and look at your own feet. Is your foot becoming, this pointed, and my foot was. I used to, when I lived in the UK, I had all these amazing shoes, and unfortunately, because my foot has got a size bigger, none of them fit me. But it is so important to me that I won't squish my foot into a shoe, which I used to, because that, maybe I liked the shoe and that was the only size left, so I would get it, or it was on sale and it was nice and I wanted it. When we returned to Australia from the UK, I bought back with me 70 pairs of shoes. So I brought a lot back, but none of them fit me now because my foot's bigger. But I won't squish my foot into a shoe because I've spent too long fixing my feet up, and they're totally fixed now, and I will not do it again. I will not squish my foot into a shoe. It's not worth it. It's not worth. I used to wear heels, and I would wear heels because they looked nice, and I would wear them, and even if my feet hurt, I would still do it. But a feet isn't really meant to be at that angle, of a heel. But I just won't do it now. It's not worth it. It's not worth the pain. So that's what kind of inspired me to get them. And now that I've had them, I said I will not wear another shoe. I'm really conscious of the feet of shoes. There are times that you don't want to wear trainers, but Vivo Barefoot have a lot of different, shoes that just aren't trainers. But I will not wear any other shoe now because it's just so important to me, and it makes such a difference. I now think back and I'm like, why did I go out and be so uncomfortable with these shoes on? It's just, for me, it's not worth it. So when I first started wearing them, it did take me some time to get used to them. So it took me some time to get used to them. I did get sore calves at first, and I did need to stretch it out. When I remember being like, I can't run in them because I could feel my feet like pounding on the pavement. So I wouldn't run in them at first, but now I everything in them. But I just, after a while, something really magical started to happen, and my feet started responding, and they were stronger, and more responsive, and I really just started to trust them more. And now, like I said before, I don't wear anything else. So what exactly is a barefoot shoe? So a barefoot shoe, it's more roomy at the front, around the toes. to allow the toes to spread out the way that they should be. So we should have a little bit of gaps between our toes, and we should have, you don't really want any toes crinkled on top of each other or anything like that. If you look at your feet, do your feet kind of, like my feet were kind of they were crinkling up in little knuckles, and it was because I was squishing my feet into shoes. So they were crinkling up, but they don't do that anymore, but they did. And we're wearing the barefoot shoes, they've flattened out. They've got the wider around the toe. They have a drop sole, which means that the thickness, so they have a 0 drop sole, which means that there's the same thickness from the toe to the heel for natural posture. They have a soft sole that bends easy, so you can roll them up. And there's no arch support because the foot rests on its heel, not on its arch. And you've got to, if you are someone that needs inserts or any of those things, your foot needs to learn how to do it on its own. This is just my opinion, okay? So this is my opinion on why I love barefoot shoes, and you can make your own opinion yourself. I believe that people that that they need arch supports and all of these things, you have to make your own choice, but it does take time. You get an arch support and that's in your foot, but that is just doing the work for you, where you could train the muscles to do the work themselves and you'll be far stronger. So that's my belief. The thickness of the sole can vary from 2 millimeters to 8 millimeters depending on the brand, and what you can do is if you are starting out, you can start off with a bit thicker ones and then work your way down. So my husband, he wears them as well, and that's what he started doing. He wore thicker ones to start off with, and now he wears the same as me. So until he got used to them. But they're just amazing, and I really so glad that I came across them. I'm so glad that I wear them. I am so glad that I fixed my feet. It was something in the back of my mind. I knew I could see my toes were crinkling. I didn't have any injuries yet, but I just was aware that everything starts from the base, and I feel like that base needs to be really, really strong. So what are some benefits of these barefoot shoes? And it goes way, way beyond just being comfortable. They're comfortable because your feet are not squished into anything. They have the room to spread out. They've been known to improve leg and foot strength. Walking on your barefoot or in barefoot shoes, it's been known to restore the strength in your feet and legs. Because they have no arch support or extra cushioning, our feet have to do what they're actually meant to do, to use or to rebuild their muscles. So with good strength, our feet naturally absorb the shocks and they create the well-being and the comfort that we need. But if you look at it from the other way, the more support that your feet are getting, the weaker that they become, and the more that they're reliant on that support, and then they need that more support because they're just becoming weaker. So barefoot shoes are also being known to combat pain. So transitioning to barefoot shoes can strengthen your foot and realign your muscle fibers. It can improve your ankle stability and help prevent injuries. And if you think about it, wearing them is letting the foot do what it's naturally meant to do. And it's been known to help relieve lower back pain, reduce pain caused by injured knees and hips. So this isn't going to happen instantly, but it's going to happen when you start to wear them and you start to become aware of how your foot places when you run, when you walk, when you do activities. So like I said, in my classes, I see it all the time. People have sore knees and we'll go, I'll say, let me check your feet, and their feet might be rolling in, their toes might be lifting off the ground. But when you've got the barefoot shoes, you can become aware of that and adjust that. So it's really amazing when you start to become aware of these things. They have been barefoot shoes. They allow you to walk and run naturally. So most of us, when we were kids, we ran, we walked and we ran and we did everything barefoot. and we had no problems with jumping, running around. We all did it naturally. Our feet were strong and healthy, and they were doing like what they were meant to be. And then we become an adult and we go to work, and we have to wear school shoes for school, and then we later go to work, and then we then want to start looking cool, so we do start wearing certain shoes. But unfortunately, not all the shoes that look cool are good for us in the long term, and a lot of people then start paying the price later on with injuries. So the more that you become aware of how your feet place and the movement, the more that you can get on top of this stuff. And my goal for everybody is to lead a healthy, happy life where they can be as satisfied. There is like a perception that barefoot shoes are a step back, and some people they have concerns such as if there's a lack of arch support, will it hurt my feet? That they think that their calf muscles will get sore and painful, and then they feel if they're like a heel striker that it will hurt their heel. There are many concerns, and it's important to really take the time necessary to get your body used to walking barefoot again, and proper progress is required to avoid any injury. It took me a while to get used to them. Like I said, when I first bought them, I couldn't run in them. I couldn't do any of that stuff because it was hurting my feet, pounding on the floor when I was running. But now I don't feel anything because my foot is stronger. So for people that tend to be like a heel striker, which is fine if you've got a well-cushioned shoe, then it'll be necessary to look at changing your stride from heel striking to mid-foot striking. And again, this doesn't happen instantly. It requires a steady progression. So stuff takes time. Now, I've been wearing my barefoot shoes for 3 or 4 years. So, and it did take a bit of transition at first, but it was worth it. And I look at my feet now and I think, I'm so glad. They're definitely not, I don't like feet. I don't like feet at all. But they are so much better than my toes are not crinkled that they were. They, my feet are a lot nicer than what they were when I was squishing them into shoes. And the results, they're so worth it. And when you start to bring your foot like strapped back under your body, it allows you to use your ankles as a spring rather than as a brake. And as you soften and cushion your to help soften and cushion your landing. And so this results in improvements everywhere. In injury prevention and your stride efficiency. So it's really, it's just really important. And I just think if the more that people can become aware of how their daily movements help them, what their feet are doing, everything else falls into place. And especially I see it all the time in classes. So there is lots of science to back up research about the benefits of barefoot shoes, and I think it's important for you to do your own research and find out something that works for you. I recommend to get a shoe and try it, and just see how you feel, or because it is expensive to buy a shoe, just start doing stuff with no shoes on. Just start doing stuff with no shoes on and feel how your foot feels on the ground first, and then move up from there. There's lots of info confirming the benefits of wearing barefoot shoes, but you really need to start to learn and to start trusting your feet. The science is showing us that the shoe wearer, that the transition to wearing a minimalist footwear is not always simple, and the individuals, they need to take into account the duration of their habits and factor into the consequence changes to their body. So you've spent all this time wearing other shoes that may have been causing unbalances, and you need to spend the time to correct all this stuff and to correct your movement. And it does take time, but it's so worth it. There is a risk of injury if you don't listen to your body when you're transitioning into the bare minimalist footwear, and you have to, and then because you've spent so long compromising the natural function of your feet. You've spent your whole life doing that. So you do need to take time to get it right. just giving it time. And in time, you will notice that your feet feel stronger. You are stronger in your movements in the gym when you're working out and other things because you've got that strong base. You can become aware of your ankles and how they feel. And remember, everything, it starts from your ankles. So, feet, ankles, hips, knees, hips, they all line up, and all of that stuff then rolls into everything else. And you can put your back out, you put everything out, and how you move. It's so important. So I recommend for you to just start thinking about taking your shoes off when you're doing some training, and think, how does your foot feel on the ground? And sometimes it takes a bit of time for your foot to get used to it, because it's been wearing. I know some people say that their feet hurt because they've been used to being cushioned and all that, and it does take some time. But it's so nice when you can feel your foot on the ground. You can feel it moving. You can feel what it's doing. It's so powerful, and you'll notice a big difference in your workouts. So I love Barefoot Shoes, and I would love it if you try to do training with some shoes off and see how you feel. Make sure that obviously you do your own research and find something that works for you. This is just my opinion. And I am just going on my experience with them and how they have made such a difference to my feet. And yes, my feet may have got a size bigger, but I feel totally fine with that, because I know that I'm giving my feet a great opportunity to, I'm looking after them, and I'm really caring for them. And, they do take a lot of weight and a lot of pressure, and I think we all need to care for our feet a little bit more. If this you think will help anybody, please make sure you share it onto them. And if it helps you and you have tried training with your shoes off, please let me know. I would love to hear how it goes. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for listening to the Elliott's PT podcast. I hope you have been able to find this information of use to you. If you know someone who might enjoy this podcast, please share it with them. And ensure that you subscribe so you can be the first to know when new podcasts are released. If you have the time to leave a 5-star review, that would be amazing, and it would be greatly appreciated. If you do so, please screenshot and share onto any of our socials and tag us. Then email the screenshot to hello@elliotspt.com, and we will send you a free gift to your inbox. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day. Speak soon.